Debbie, are you here? Not Debbie, maybe we can go ahead with Gerald. Would you like to say a few words on behalf of?
Gerald's here, and I think Debbie might have some technical difficulties with her Wi-Fi. Hello, everybody. My name is Gerald Rocha. I'm one of the directors also for philanthropy and engagement. And I'm excited about this year's campaign, 2021, and looking forward to hopefully getting to see, you know, the accounts that are here that I'm responsible for. Looking forward to seeing you all in the future in this upcoming campaign season. So thank you for joining us, and look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Tim, you have anything you want to say?
I just want to thank everybody that's gotten on, and I'm looking for a prosperous year. We've coming up with some new ideas as far as you choose, and this is on later on, a couple of weeks from now, to look at it. But yeah, I just appreciate everybody doing what you do for the community and for United Way itself. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Yep, and we're going to ask you as far as some of the rules is to just stay muted unless you're called upon to make a comment. We do want you to use the chat box. That as we're going through this, that if you have anything that you want to ask a question on, we're going to pretty much try to hold off to the end to answer those questions. But Gerald's going to be monitoring that chat room, and if he feels that there's something immediate that needs to be addressed, Gerald's going to let us know, and we'll move forward from there. So again, welcome to this training. We're very excited about it. And what we want to do is share with you the agenda, just a few items that's going to be there. So first thing we're going to talk about is our big theme as we go through these agenda items. What makes United Way of Delaware unique? That'll be followed by the next point, which is our theme. This is the year, this is the 2021-22 theme. The movement is you. So you may have seen it on there where it said YO and U in red. The movement is you. And that's everybody that's participating in the campaign that we need. Next on our agenda is that we don't talk quickly about a campaign refresh. We kind of look back at what happened last year, and we look forward to this upcoming campaign for this year. Our next point is that we want to talk about your role as employee campaign champions. You are a critical piece to the success of our campaigns. It's always been it. I've been with United Way for over 14 years, and we cannot have successful campaigns without great ECCs, employee campaign champions. After we talk about your role, the next thing we'll talk about is messaging and impact. How do you get to people? So many want to say no, they don't want to participate, but what do you need to do in order to make that impact to get people to participate? And we'll give you some tools, which is the next point on the agenda. We'll talk about a get started toolkit. So we don't want you to be out there, thinking that you don't have anything to be able to supply yourself with to be able to make yourself successful. We'll go over that. And then I think our final point is what we can do together. Together we can win. And there's a lot of things that we're still trying to conquer because of what's going on in our world today. So let me begin by saying, what makes United Way unique? And there are three key things here that makes us unique. First is investing. We are data guide. We use data guides. It guides our work to assess gaps in services and to understand the unique needs of children and families as a whole within each zip code. So we're not just going out there and blindly saying, okay, we need to invest in this group because they're just a wonderful group of kids or these families are nice here. No, we're looking at data and we're looking at whose needs are the greatest. Some of the things we at United Way of Delaware focus on is 8 key promising areas based on zip codes. And it's within those zip codes that the needs are greatest. And that's where we want to invest the monies and so forth and the energies to be able to improve those communities. Second thing that makes us unique is that connecting. United Way of Delaware, it networks with hundreds of nonprofits, county and local governments, as we heard with Newcastle County being on a call today, businesses, and community leaders, assuring they're connecting, coordinating, and aligning. So basically, the sum of that whole statement is, we know at United Way of Delaware, we can't do this work alone. We have great partners that are out there from all these different entities. And together, we can really make a difference in making Delaware and all of our areas that we work with in Salem, New Jersey, and vice versa, are much more successful. So, and then the third area is our engagement and fundraising. We engage businesses, individual donors, and volunteers, community leaders, foundations, and government to drive investments on time, talent, funds, and child well-being. We had a very, very successful monetary campaign last year. A lot of it dealt with grants that we received from the state because of COVID-19 and the CARES Act. But we're able to take those funds, and I'm so proud of the leadership of this organization. Like I said, we went back, looked at the data, saw where the needs were, and we were able to really make a lot of people's dark days brighter tomorrows because of the investments that we made. So, but you can't do all of that and can't do none of it without you. And that's our theme as we talk about next. The movement is you. Everybody that's on this call, those who couldn't make it, those that we'll be working with this year, it's all about the movement being you. And the first point that we talk about there with the movement being you is that we talk about, we want you to understand more. A lot of, this is amazing. I've been working for United Way for all these years. And often we still get people who come and say, who are you guys? What do y'all do? And we have these identity statements that really makes it crystal clear in regards to that. So one is our vision. And our vision is to advance the common good by creating opportunities for all Delawareans. Not quite yet there for the values. Second is our impact, and that is that children, individuals, and families succeed. And so we ask people to do three things: to give through a community of philanthropy, to advocate through a collective voices built, and volunteer around three things as we get people engaged. And those three areas are third grade reading proficiency, youth development and college and career readiness, and financial empowerment. Because the mission of United Way is to maximize resources to improve the quality of life for all people of this great state. And it takes all of us to be able to do that. So just like at your organization, I'm sure you have core values. Those of us that was in the military, like myself, we always had these values that we had to follow. And these values at United Way are very important to us. And they include, first is to wow our customers. That is that, we want to make sure that you feel that you're a part of this whole process. You matter. You're so critical to us. And we want to make sure that anything that you need, we're going to take care of it. That's why it was important for Gerald and Tim and Debbie and our whole team to be able to introduce ourselves to you. Because when you're going through this process, we want to make sure that we're being able to provide you with everything that you need. Second is to collectively drive change. And that is, as we go back and look at what we're doing together from all the entities within the state, we are working collectively to drive positive change to make our community stronger, safer, and better. And a third value that goes right along with that is we grow and learn. So, everything that we're doing, it may not be a success. We'll learn from it, and then we'll keep pressing into it until we get it right. Because I want everybody on this call today to know that as we're doing this work, the last person that should be really in front of the mirror should be ourselves. The first person needs to be the community that's out there that's really hurting. And we want to do all we can in order to be able to make sure our kids have a successful education, our young people are growing up with real dream aspirations, and that our families are stabilized through financial empowerment. And then the last two things is that we're mission driven. The United Way is mission driven. We are waking up every day saying, what can we do to get out there and make things better? And what can we do to work better with our organizations that we call our partners? And that goes with our final value, we're relationship oriented. And that is that, like to see all you guys get on this call today. It's not strangers. We've been working with you for years in some cases, and we'll come to your organization. Doesn't matter what the hour of the day is. I saw Larry Henley on a call from Purdue. And we've done campaigns at Purdue where we've come near the midnight hour, whatever it takes in order to be able to advance the common good for all people. And so beyond our values, our third point with movement as you is that we are caught in an inescapable network. And that network is a network of mutuality. And what I mean by that is that as you look at the situation of our communities, the problems in one community, though you may not live there, they're still all of our problems. You know, my great hero, Dr. King, said that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And it's the same thing with, you know, kids not being able to get food, or families not being able to stay in their homes or get the utilities that they need, or, you know, young people not having choices like college and careers. And so they find themselves getting caught up in antisocial behavior. Those problems, though they may not be directly associated with us, they are still our problems. And we have to do everything we can as part of this inescapable network in order to be able to make the work that we do at United Way and our partners a success. And so following that, we talk about campaign refresh. This has been quite a year. Somebody sent me something today as a message and said, I pray, and my sincere prayer is that we do not have another year like the one we just experienced. It has been difficult, been really challenging. You know, this pandemic has been unbelievable. And as we look at the first thing under this is that we reflect back on past obstacles. You know, the virtual world has just gotten us to a whole different place. You know, kids, you know, learning from home, parents having to do their jobs at home, masks, social distancing. And here we are, where we got the vaccines and people are starting to get vaccinated, and things are seeming like they're getting better. And then a variant shows up, and now we're going backwards. So what that causes is some challenges. And the next point that we look at is that it shifts our priorities. So, you know, this is what we saw, and I'm sure that the staff from United Way can see this, is that in many situations where you guys would invite us in and we go ahead and do campaign rallies and we talk about all these volunteer opportunities, you know, the priority shifted so much on the welfare of those that we work with every day that some of those opportunities began to go away. And we saw that with the impact in some of our campaigns. And so we're just hoping that as we refresh this, we've learned from what we went through this past year. And we definitely want to hope that we can get things better going forward. And so we look at the final point with this here is that we want to get back to some sense of normalcy. That is that we want to be able to come and see you. We want to be able to be as close to you as we have been in the past. And we're just a phone call away to be able to provide you with anything that you need. So we're hoping now that, you know, it was just overwhelming last year as we had to make the decision, are we going to work from home or are we going to be back in our offices? And I know many people are starting to go back to their offices, but at the same time, we got to be precautious because of what's happening right now in society with the COVID-19 situation. But I think that we're definitely on the right track with what science is doing in order to be able to get us back to where we used to be. And so next that we can talk about is, you know, we have you on this phone call for a reason. And like I said earlier, you're a valuable asset to the success of this campaign. And mainly, we have to look at it from two perspectives. We have to look at it from the fundraising standpoint, and we have to look at it from the volunteer and advocacy standpoint. So the first role that we see with you as employee campaign champions is that you are truly our boots on the ground. And what I mean by that is we cannot get into the doors of your organizations without your help. You're the one that's able to get past the gatekeepers, and you're the ones who are able to not only open those gates, excuse me, but also able to open minds and hearts about the work of what we do. Second is that we need you to be powerful voices of advocacy. You know, it's one thing that, you know, we you know, if you ever heard me or Gerald or Tim or any other member of this philanthropy and engagement team come out to your organization and talk about the work of what we're doing, we're very passionate because we see it every day. And I don't know about you, you know, there's personal reasons why I work at the United Way. And I don't mind sharing very quickly. You know, I grew up in the inner city of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I grew up in conditions that are very similar to many of our kids up in northern Wilmington and in some of the tougher places in Dover and rural areas in Georgetown and Seaford. Poverty is very hard, and I tasted it, and I knew what that was like as a child. But also, one of the things that made it all worthwhile to see that you could escape it was the power of education and the power of mentorship. And so, you know, that was my reasoning. You know, I mean, what's driving me to be so passionate about the work? Well, I've seen it firsthand to where when people care and when people invest in the United Way programs and they're an advocate for those programs, then you can begin to shift some of the things that are going on. And so that's what we're asking you to do. You know, now I go out there and I'll share, you know, how I was in the pits of all the challenges of poverty to now where I've been pulled up to where a kid whose brothers were gangbangers and whose mom was on welfare, whose dad was an alcoholic, to now a brother that's got a PhD, a doctorate degree. And so, you know, as we look at these kids, as we look at these youth, as we look at these families in these situations, we have the tools to be able to pull people out of some of their most challenging situations. And that's what we're asking you. We're asking you to be that voice of advocacy that really believes. And they got to know that you're sincere about it. And there's three things that you can do. I call it the triple E effect as the next point that I'm talking about with this slide, the triple E effect. And there are three things. You got to have energy. I mean, you wake up in the morning and, you know, regardless of what's happening, you got to wake up energized and ready to take on the day. The moment that you're able to open your eye, take a deep breath, and realize that this is a day that has been blessed to you to be able to make a difference, you bring that energy with you no matter where you go. I know sometimes in life we deal with some challenging things from our health to our kids to circumstances on the job. But as an employee campaign champion, you know, when you bring that energy, it's contagious. And that's the other E, is enthusiasm. So, you know, where a lot of the world is so depressed over the pandemic, so frustrated with all of the social unrest, so just worn out by things that are just not going right. Our enthusiasm is a way to dampen all of that negative energy and really spark a fire to get people to want to do something, to want to make a difference, to get out of their comfort zone and say, you know, okay, I feel you. I see your energy. I see your enthusiasm. You know, what can I do in order to make it better? What can I do in DuPont? What can I do for Newcastle County government? What can I do to be able to make, you know, my communities better? And so with your energy and your enthusiasm comes the third E, and that E is expectation. And so you're going through and you're asking people, you know, we need you to participate in the United Way campaign. Why? Well, let me tell you something. Your dollar invested in the United Way is turning around lives to where families are able to get something to eat. Their families are able to keep roofs over their heads, pay their mortgage, send their kids to school, where they're able to put money away for a rainy day. You're doing that. And you may say, well, you know, I don't have a lot of money to do it. But the fact of the matter is, when you take sights off yourself and place it on someone else, it's unbelievable how your life changes. And it makes a tremendous difference. So that's the triple E effect. And that's the role that if you're going into this, and we hope that, you know, you've chosen to do this. So for many of you that's on this call today, you've been doing this for a while for your organizations. I know I've been working with people like Michelle Kane and working with Larry Henley and working with Arlen Lewis and a number of other people for quite some time. And I'm sure that Debbie can attest to how long she's worked with DuPont and Gore and Tim can attest to how long he's worked with the governments and so forth, and making a difference in developing these relationships. So that's your role. And we're here to help you in any way that we can in order to be able to keep that type of energy going forward. So here's one of the great things, one of the amazing things that can really help you in regards to your messaging and your impact. Some of the great things. And one is your story. What is your story? You know, I just share with you mine, you know, growing up in the inner city of Philadelphia and being in the pits of poverty to now where I'm fortunate to be where I am today because somebody invested in a program in Philadelphia through the United Way that allowed me to come out of the circumstances I was in and to be in a better place. So you're at your organization and they're hearing all these things that we provided you with from the aspects of the United Way. But one of the most powerful things you can have, if it's not you, it could be somebody on your job that says, hey, let me share with you a situation that I dealt with. And if it had not been for an agency or an organization associated with United Way, I don't know where I would be today. And it's that kind of story that resonates. It really makes a difference and it encourages people to see the reality of what their investment is doing. And there are so many stories like that right there where you work. Just have to ask people to see if they'd be willing to share that type of information because it makes a tremendous difference. And you know, it's got to come across that it's important to you. If it's not important to you, then the audiences that you'll be speaking to at your businesses or at your organizations, it won't be important to them. They need to know that triple E effect that they see with you is real. And the way that they see that is through your testimony or somebody that works with you. And so the second thing, you know, in messaging is this. You know, somebody will say, and you know, hey, Gerald and Tim will tell you this, is that we believe so much in United Way that when we talk about contributions, they start with us. So we do an internal campaign to really kick things off with the year that we're getting ready to do as far as the upcoming campaign. We call it our internal campaign. And let me tell you something. I give my money to United Way, but I also give some of my money designated to things that are very important to me. And the question I ask, and I'm sure many of the people that you work with will ask, is what have you done lately with my donations? And a couple of things that can be captured in that is things like this. Okay, I live in Milford, and I'm giving my money towards the Boys and Girls Club. You tell me for sure that my money is going to the Boys and Girls Club in Milford, or that my money is going towards Children and Families First in Seaford or Georgetown. And I want to make sure that my money is being invested right where my kids are learning and where my kids are being impacted. And so I can tell you this, that we are so proud of the investments that our leadership and our board and our investment team has been making over the past year, especially. You know, we've been fortunate enough to get millions of dollars to come through because of the pandemic. And it's because of that. And you can see this great symbol behind me in this background, 211, that have been doing work that's been unbelievable. Your investment in the United Way helps the 211 program. It helps our education programs, like something that we call learning pods, where kids were able to catch up because of, you know, all the challenges with virtual learning. You know, last week, I was a part of a presentation down in Georgetown for what was called the Freedom School. And those Freedom Schools are working diligently with kids that would normally not be able to have summer programs that would keep them on point with their reading and their mathematics and other type of STEM subjects, so that they can be prepared when they go back to school in the fall. United Way was able to offer money to organizations for that. And the result has been remarkable. Now these kids are going back to school, normally where they would be behind in their reading and normally behind in their mathematics. They're right there on point, ready to stay right there on pace with other kids who, fortunately, because of economics, were able to get to the academic achievements of what they need. Our kids were able to do that. Even this is an exciting story. We work with one of our partners out of Milford, a company who was doing some leadership training. And they decided that during the leadership training, they were going to do a competition and they were going to build bikes and they were going to take these bikes. And, it was remarkable how they showed these bikes. But the one thing they wanted to do was, after the bikes were built, to invest them in the hands of kids that really could use something like a new bicycle. And so, myself, Debbie Armstrong, we were downstate last week and we took pictures with the First State Community Action Agency, as one of these great organizations donated over 10 bikes to the Freedom School. Kids that, normally may not be able to economically afford a bike, especially at this time, were able to get 10 new bikes because they had earned them. There was criteria to be able to get those bikes, and they had fulfilled those things and worked so diligently. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what your donation does. It makes that type of positive impact. And I could tell you, to the point of tears, one of the young ladies sitting on her bicycle asked a question. So when you guys are gone, what's going to happen with these bikes? And we were able to tell her that bike belongs to you. And she was just overjoyed. That's the impact that we make when we work collectively in order to advance the common good through the work of the United Way. And then the final point here, as far as our messaging and impact, is we got to realize that the urgency is now. So, it's just that we're at a point where we gotta realize that we're still dealing with some major challenges. We're back to where masks are being mandated. We're at a situation where a lot of people who don't want to get vaccinated are getting infected and being hospitalized, not only here in Delaware, but across the country. We still have the issues of social unrest, and thank God we have an organization within the United Way called the Delaware Racial Justice Collaborative that is working with hundreds of Delawareans in all 3 counties, addressing different issues of inequity throughout our communities to be able to make fairness a reality. That great statement that says that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and that they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights, which among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's our work. That's what we do with great people like you at your organizations, by being able to make the American dream everybody's dream. And it's tremendous. So, the question might come up, well, how can you help us, Mr. Moore? How can you help us, Gerald Rocha? How can you help us, Tim Sheldon, to be more effective at being able to do this? And we're not just going to leave you hanging out there. We're going to provide you with resources that will help to make you successful. The first resource is not even looking at this website. It's us. So, I know Gerald's right next to his phone. If one of you were to call him for his campaign that he's responsible for, Tim's calling you back and he's trying to do all he can to assist you. But on our website that's being constructed now, it's our 2021 campaign toolkit. It's being finished. I talked to our director of marketing, and he's given me a thumbs that even as early as this afternoon, that listing, which is being updated in regards to our pledge forms, in regards to our partner agency listing, in regard to our posters and campaign needles, and our ECC training guide that'll accent anything that I'm talking about today. if you go, Marcus, what is it? www.uwde.org/ I think it's campaign toolkit 2021. Once that is all completed, what's going to happen today is that you are going to receive that updated link with all that information there. So everybody on this call and others that may have not been able to make it, we're going to get that out to you today so that you can get access to these materials so that we can make sure that your campaign is successful. So that's one of the things that we're very excited about. And it lists all those materials. One of the other things that's also there that, you know, I'm dealing with an organization down in Salisbury that they're needing as well is videos. And so also as part of that toolkit, not only will you get the website that'll give you access to where these resources are, but also along with that, if you can go ahead, is that we will list, you know, that the fact that these materials and these videos will be available for you. Could you put those up, Marcus? Just click those in. Are they coming up? Yeah, beyond the website, if we could just go back and just look at the other points that were part of that slide, if we can go back to that real quick. Yep, the materials and the videos, they'll be there for you. So again, like Marcus is telling us, we're hoping that by this afternoon, the 2021 campaign toolkit will be completed as much as it can, and we'll be able to get that to you. Some other exciting news that I don't think I have listed on this particular slide that I do want to inform you about is that we have been approved by Kia of Wilmington for another car raffle. So we're going to be raffling off a 2022 Kia Seltos, the SUV that we used last year. And you'll have an option of doing a 3-year lease or receiving $8,500 if you're able to win that. We had more than 20, I think it was more than 2,500 entries for that last year. It was a ton of people that were eligible. And so, you know, all you have to do is if you give $150 or more to the United Way of Delaware, it's going to make you eligible to be put into that drawing. What's going to happen is sometime in May, we're going to go from those thousands of candidates for the car and draw it down to about 8 semifinalists. And then what will happen is after we come down with those 8 semifinalists on June the 9th, which is our annual meeting, 2022, we'll have those semifinalists gathered in the Kia Wilmington showroom. And then what will happen is that we'll have their names in a barrel, and then we'll draw of those 8 semifinalists or whatever number we're going to determine later. And we'll pick the winner of the car. It was very exciting last year to actually have the winner of that car right in our presence. It's been difficult before, but they were right there. We plan on doing it again this year. So we can get to the next point. I know our time is getting, we're in a good place with time. Also, that's listed when you go to that website for Campaign Toolkit is that it will have the points of contact for your staff manager. So Gerald's phone number will be there, his email address will be there, as well as Tim's, and as well as Debbie Armstrong's and myself, in case you have any questions. And I will like to say this in the chat, because we didn't have the time, or we didn't think we had the time to hear from each of you, even though, we'll have some time at the end with the chat questions. We would love for you to put your name, your organization, and your email address in the chat so that we know that you were on the call today. And then, like I said, one of the things we want to do is that once that toolkit is updated for 2021, we can use that information and get that out to you right away to make that happen. So we can go to the next one. Very important that we win together. Together we can win. And you saying, well, what do you mean by that? Well, the first point when we think about winning together is this key about us working collectively. So that first point on this slide here, to work together to win, is the power of collaboration. We've had so much success in the past because of employee campaign champions like you. You guys have worked side by side with us, not only for us to give you ideas of what you can do, but you've also given us ideas of what we can do so that we can make your campaigns more successful. And then, at the end of it all is to provide you with that data so that you know that your dollars that you're investing is making a positive impact. It's wonderful to know that, the dollars that you give is feeding someone, or the dollars that you're giving is being able to keep someone safe and keep them in a domestic shelter from any harm or danger, or being able to help mom and dad get their kid into college and things of that nature. It takes collaboration. It takes everybody's ideas in order to make this state, the first state, even a stronger state, even the state of New Jersey, a powerful state as we work in Salem County. And then the second point here, together we win, is that we are a brother's keeper. So please don't underestimate how much we value you, how much we care about you. In some of the situations in the past, when we've come out to your organizations to speak, that's the kind of thing that we're missing. Once we would finish our presentation and we stand on the side and we be answering questions and just speaking to people, there would be so many that will come up to us and say, hey, look, I got a situation. I know that you want us to support United Way, but we need your support. And you've heard families, they'll come up and they'll talk about, the need for such urgent situations. And we at United Way take this mantra that we are our brother's keeper. And so therefore, we want to make sure that those services that we're saying that we offer will be available to you to be able to receive them. And then the third thing here with working together to win is live united. So if my colleagues don't mind if I bore them just for a second, I use this chant in regards to live united. And I spell it out as an acronym. Some of you may have been at campaign kickoffs and you've heard me do this. But the L in live united is love, because there's no greater emotion that you can share that will cause you to take sights off yourself and place it on someone else. The I in live united is inspirational. And that is that, because of what we're doing collectively as employee campaign champions and as staff at United Way, we're inspiring people to let them know that there's hope. Even in their darkest hour, there's still hope. The V is how much we value one another. That's where all that data and all that information comes in, so that we're not just out there throwing, arrows into the sky, but we're able to hit targets because we have this valuable information that can really help people. The E in live united right there is empathy. And that is because you never know that someone who's challenged today might be your challenge tomorrow. We saw this during a recession. Many people lost their jobs. Many people lost their homes. People who were able to give to United Way now were becoming the recipients of United Way support. And so we need to be empathetic towards things that's going on in society. The U is unify. And we already talked about this with the power of collaboration. Together, we can do anything. We come together on one accord, one mind, one heart, we can do anything. The N I like that is no. And this is for you employee campaign champions. When you're out there and you're asking people to participate in a campaign, I'm sure that many of you, when we look at our participation rates, you're hearing a lot of no's. I don't want to do that. I don't know what they're doing with my money. I don't know. But let me tell you something. That's what you don't want to hear. You want to be able to turn that no into a yes and be able to get people to invest in the United Way. And in doing that, they're investing in themselves. The other I is impact. we know that we're making a difference. You know, one of the things I'll send out to you that I don't have available right now, and we will talk about it later in another session that's coming up, is about the impact of what our work is doing. And I like to share with you a slide specifically about the work of 211 and the other work that we did through our COVID-19 readiness campaign to be able to support so many families. Can we back up? And then also within Live United is the T, which is teamwork. That's each and every one of you working together as a team to be able to make your campaign a success. You know, I love all the campaigns I do personally, and I truly do enjoy working closely with Larry Henley and his team down at Purdue. Grassroots, just getting out there and asking people to participate. And the enthusiasm that you sense there is that they know that they're impacting their community positively. The E is enthusiasm. You know, I'm a true believer in enthusiasm. I wake up every day fired up and ready to go, ready to make a difference. And the D is devoted. That means being absolutely committed to making a difference. We all do that. And as part of this United Way mission, we truly can make a difference. So as we're coming to the end of this, look at some of the other ways that you can get involved with the United Way. And one of those is through our Get Social. We have a Twitter account where, you know, you can get out there, put some tweets out there about things that you're doing at your organization, get those back to your staff manager, take some pictures and so forth. And we'll get those out, be it Twitter or be it through Facebook, and let them know the great work you're doing in your organization to support the community and to support United Way. We also have a LinkedIn page where you can access the things that we're doing socially in the United Way. And there's one other, it's LinkedIn, and I think we have Instagram. I don't know if that's correct or not, but those are some of the vehicles that we could use from a social media standpoint to be able to make a difference. And so the next slide. So here's what's next. So what you did today is you got a very general, you know, above head presentation about who we are, what we do, what we can provide, how we're here for you. We're enthusiastic about you getting ready for this campaign. We want to make sure that it's a success for you. We're going to provide you with the tools you need, and we have your support. I mean, you have our absolute support that we will be backing you up for this. But there'll be sessions that'll be very, very specific about some of the things you're dealing with. So as you can see, the list is here. The second session, which takes place next Thursday, is going to be dealing with community support and capturing the pledge. And it's really going to be focused around the e-pledge campaign, which we did a bit more robust last year. We're still going to be doing paper pledges as well, but we want to do more and more e-pledge campaigns. The session following that on August the 26th, we're keeping the fun and fundraising, special events and activities. Session 4 will be connecting the cause. That's when we'll get our community engagement team to come in and talk about employee resource groups. Session 5 will be a community conversation to recap, and we'll have some breakout groups with philanthropy. Excuse me. And then finally, something very unique. I don't know if any of you have ever participated in what's called a poverty simulation, but it really takes you through the processes of what decisions families have to make in order to make ends meet, to be able to make it day to day. And we actually do these poverty simulations to give people a sense of what their fellow neighbor is dealing with on a daily basis. And so it's about how you survive a month in poverty. Would you be able to make it? So we're really excited about those sessions coming up. We ask that you participate in as many of those as you can. And finally, we want to close on this. One, we want to make sure that we say thank you. Thank you for being here. We know that you're very busy, and we know that there's a lot going on. And so I want to leave you with this. I know I want to leave you with a poem that I just learned. And I want this poem to be something that not only for the United Way campaign, but something in general that when things get tough, that you keep pressing on. And it's called Don't Quit. And it says, when things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile, but you have to sigh, when care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Life is strange with its twists and turns, as every one of us sometimes learns. And every fellow can see a turnabout when he might have won if he just stuck it out. So don't give up when the pace seems slow. You might succeed with another blow. Oft the goal is nearer than it seems to a faint and faltering man. And often the struggler has given up when he could have captured the victor's cup. And he learned too late as the night slipped down how close he had been to the victory crown. You know, success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint of the clouds of doubt. And you will never know how close you are because you may be near when it seems so far. So stick to the fight when your heart is hit. It's in times of struggle that you must not quit. And so I want to thank you for just being diligent, holding on and not giving up. Our community is better because of all the champions that we have on this call today. Continue to just make a difference in your community. Continue to be that voice of advocacy that just gets people excited about the fact that not only are they helping their community, but when you help someone else, you help yourself. And that makes all the difference. So again, on behalf of United Way of Delaware and our great team here, this is just step one in our employee campaign champion training. I'm sure there'll be a lot more interaction going forward as you don't have a pastor that's leading the conversation each time. So what we want to do is now, Gerald, if there's anything specific within the chat that we want to address, let's go ahead and let's do that.
Yes, first question is from Kimberly Reed from Chemours. Her question is, can you share any lessons learned or feedback from corporate campaign leads that were mostly virtual?
And because that's coming from Chemours, Debbie, do you want to chime in on that or?
Don, can everyone hear me?
A little bit.
Okay. So great question, Kimberly. And before we went into the pandemic last year and it was a quick shift, we really sat and asked ourselves that we were already in great position because of a majority of our corporate campaigns were already on ePledge pledge platform site. So those that were not on an ePledge site, we worked to try to get them in place so there was not an exchange of paper pledge forms and things that could be submitted electronically for any of their employees that might have been working due to essential classification or those from home. I think the biggest lessons learned was more on an engagement versus a process end. And several of our corporate partners used options like virtual kickoffs, some virtual volunteer opportunities, whether it be reading angels. There was events incorporated into the campaign, happy hours, just lunch and learn connects. And I know one of the great activities that you had done at Chemours and your colleague will be sharing in session 3, that'll be led by myself, was your executive coaching sessions. That it was a special event that you coordinated to raise money and the employees could participate and support the United Way campaign through that activity. So oftentimes you'll see we're keeping the fun in fundraising. It's about keeping all of your team energized and motivated to bring that awareness that it often comes with, times that, you often come together. And coming together was a challenge, but for the most part, everyone really found a solution, right? Whether it be Zoom or Teams or whatever platform that your organization is using to incorporate into the campaign. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump because I see another question, right? Any new suggestions for virtual volunteering for Days of Caring? And that came from our friends at DuPont, okay? And very much like they say that unfortunately it's probably going to be needed again this year's campaign. There will be a session from our community engagement team later in the month, and they will definitely, throughout all of their menu for the year. And please know that we will try to work with you to customize anything that might have been in person on how we can execute it the most safe way that we can.
Thanks, Debbie. We appreciate that. And I hope that answered your questions. Gerald, is there anything else?
No, I think that covered it.
Okay. Well, again, I want to, on behalf of the United Way of Delaware, want to thank you for taking this time. We kept it within the hour. I'm very proud of that. We, again, want you to know that we are here to support you in any activities that you need to answer any further questions as you go away from this meeting. We hope to see you next week for our next training. And again, look for that email with the updated toolkit. Hopefully you'll be able to get that this afternoon and be able to be successful as you pursue a great campaign for the 2021-22 United Way year. So thank you so much. Any other questions? How you doing, Boski? Good to see you.
Likewise.
All right, John, we have a question here. Milford. When can we expect the forms and the kickoff date time?
Could you say that again, Larry? It came kind of, I couldn't quite hear you.
I know why. Okay,
Oh.
so we're asking when can we expect forms and the timelines for the kickoff?
Oh, that's driven by the great Larry Henley. And what I mean by that is, Larry, if you told me to come Monday next week, we're getting brand new pledge forms. Once those are in hand, I think we got a similar question that had came from Michelle Kane at right down the street from you at KSI, is that we will deliver at the time that you're ready to receive them. So just give me, we could talk, after this, and I'll begin to put together your inventory and get that to you as soon as possible.
Excellent. And just for the record, we're introducing a very young lady who's been with the company 30 years, Pandora Harmon, who I'm gonna be her sidekick this year as she heads up the program for us.
Oh, excellent. I'm looking forward to working with her.
Very
She in there with you?
She's here.
Okay. I caught her a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
You got it. Anybody else got questions? Good question, Larry. All right. Well, that'll conclude today's meeting. Again, if you have any questions, give your staff member a call. And just like I told Larry Henley, we're here to deliver, make it happen, and looking forward to a very successful United Way campaign for this upcoming year.
Thank
Take care,
you.
everybody.
Thank you. Have a good
All right, thank you.
afternoon.